ANC toasts expansion of GNU. The ANC has welcomed the 10 political parties that have since joined and signed an agreement to form a Government of National Unity (GNU) for the 7th administration. The UDM, which has initially rejected to join the pact, became one of the parties which at the weekend announced its decision to join the coalition that also includes the DA, Jama-ah, IFP, Good Party, FF Plus, and others. The ANC has described this agreement as historic, as the GNU now secured over 70% of the vote. However, the ruling party, which lost its share of the majority vote in the elections, said all parties intending to join the GNU will be subject to Clause 24 of the Statements of Intent that says parties already in the GNU must agree before other parties are allowed to join. The ANC, though its spokesperson, Mahlengu Bengu Motini, indicated that Ramaphosa will announce his new cabinet in the coming days, adding, any further parties wishing to join the GNU will be subject to Clause 24 of the Statement of Intent, which states that, in keeping with the spirit of an inclusive GNU, it is agreed that the composition shall be discussed and agreed among the existing parties whenever new parties desire to be part of the GNU, she said. At the weekend, Rise Mzansi became the 9th party to join the GNU, with its leader, Songezo Zibi, saying it had decided to join in on the ANC-DA-led multi-party government following a recent leadership meeting. Since June 9, 2024, Rise Mzansi has been consulting various political parties and stakeholders to inform our decisions on how best to participate in shaping South Africa's future in a changed political environment. In a sense, the discussions have involved whether or not to participate in the proposed Government of National Unity and National Dialogue and the implications of either choice. On Friday, the Rise Mzansi National Leadership Collective met to discuss a final approach to the Government of National Unity. The sitting of the National Leadership Collective followed our initial approach, which was to ensure that the first sitting of the National Assembly elected a Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and a President to ensure constitutional, democratic, and social stability, he said. Unlawful instructions warning to new GNU bosses. The Public Service Commission (PSC) has warned members of President Cyril Ramaphosa's new executive adhere strictly to the prescript governing the functioning of the state and desist from issuing unlawful and partisan instructions. The PSC said the ministers and public servants were expected to execute their duties within the bounds of the Constitution and the law. As such, public servants can never say they were instructed, and executive authorities, minister premiers, and MECs can never say they were advised as an excuse for ill practice, the Commission warned. It cited the case of the Life Esidimeni strategy in which 144 mentally ill patients died after the Gauteng provincial government terminated a contract of their care by the healthcare group and transferred them to facilities run by unregistered non-governmental organizations. In his ruling, retired Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Motseneke said the Constitution goes further to impose overarching duties on wielders of public power. As elected office bearers, and so too those in the public service, go about their duties, they must first and foremost be faithful to the law. They must act within the structure of the law and eschew unlawfulness. They may not elevate their personal or arbitrary or political or other preferences above or in a breach of binding law. That is the bare minimum of the constitutional tenets of the rule of law. Ramaphosa is due to announce his new executive deputy president, ministers and deputy ministers from members of the Government of National Unity, GNU, comprising the ANC, DAIPF, Patriotic Alliance and the PSC soon. In a circular issued earlier this month, PSC chairperson Professor Sonadoda Fikeni stated that the executive authorities sometimes hid behind the notion that they did not know the law and acted on officials' advice. In the Life Esidimeni Arbitration Award, the claims by the executive authority that she was incorrectly advised by the administration and claims by the administration that they were acted on instructions from the executive authority were rejected, he reminded. Feneki continued, accordingly, they were held accountable for their actions. This demonstrates that ignorance of the law is not an adequate defense for issuing and implementing unlawful instructions. Additionally, the PSC highlighted the implementation plan for the final report of the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, chaired by outgoing Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. In terms of the plan, there must be measures in place to ensure the devolution and administrative powers from executive authorities to head the department and requirements that executive advice and directives be channeled through accounting officers, directors general and heads of department to have force and effect. It was hoped that this would prevent the proliferation of conflicting instructions to officials and interference by executive authorities in departments' operational matters. Fikeni said the issuance of unlawful instructions in the public service had a crippling effect on the service delivery, departmental stability, and respect for human rights, which derailed the achievement of the developmental state objectives. The evidence that emerged from the Judicial Commission of the Inquiry into allegations of state capture has shown how some leaders and businesses were able to act with impunity, Fikeni said. He added that it was even more distressing that senior officials acting in cahoots with businesses looted the state in the procurement of personal protective equipment during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Commission has also directed newly appointed or deployed ministers to ensure that they undergo orientation programs which include introductory meetings with department heads for detailed discussions on existing strategic plans and the progress in implementing them. According to the PSC, if possible, the previous minister should be available in the meeting and the new executive authority and minister premier should be provided with all relevant documents. For a newly appointed executive authority, the environment he or she enters may be foreign to him or her. Even an executive authority that has been deployed from another portfolio must be familiarized with the organizational culture and operational functions of the new department, the Commission stated in a guide issued earlier this month. The PSC has suggested that a meeting of each department's executive committee should be held as soon as possible after a new minister or head of department is appointed, and that, if possible, the outgoing minister should also be involved. The successor should not only be introduced to the team and the portfolios of the senior managers involved, but the plans, accomplishments, critical areas of non-performance, financial concerns, and the filing of critical vacancies should also be discussed. During the first meeting, all relevant progress reports and documentations should be provided to the new minister. Another meeting involving the heads of department, corporate service, chief financial officer, Chief Operations Officer and other persons deemed necessary should be held with the new minister to familiarize them with the applicable administrative, financial, and human resource management practices. In addition, new ministers should be introduced to staff through various mechanisms such as staff meetings, emails, and internal newsletters. However, first an introductory meeting should be held between the new minister and head of department and should involve the deputy minister in departments where this is applicable. To prepare for new department heads' assumptions of duties, state instructions at all levels of government are urged to facilitate these early meetings to avoid any unintended consequences and close the gaps that should hamper the smooth transition of the process. In national government departments, there should also be a meeting with the Director General and Executive Committee without the new minister to start fostering leadership roles of the new head with his or her executive team, following by a gathering with all staff, if possible, at once, or if not, through a series of meetings to introduce the new boss. And that's it from Injibs Network. Stay tuned to our celebrity and gossip news.